We have Adam Whitney on the Profit First ROI podcast. Adam is an incredible human being, and in this episode, he teaches you how to keep more of what you're making. Yes, through Profit First, but then he gave some practical tips on the personal side. But then he also gave his experience from the military, how he makes decisions when you have wild swings in months. He was very open. Not like a lot of people sometimes want to be on podcasts. And so I think you will gain a lot of knowledge, a lot of insight, a lot of practical tools to gain the value of keeping more of what you're making, not just through Profit First, but from the personal side as well too. This is an episode you want to turn into and then probably listen to on repeat to get everything that he said, because this can be life-changing for your business. Enjoy the episode. Welcome back to the Profit First ROI podcast. I'm David Richter. I'm here with Adam Whitney, who has become a much better friend over the last few years, especially once I knew he's a Profit First fan. So I'm like, obviously, that just makes the connection even better. So Adam, thanks for being on the show today.
David, such a blessing to be here, man. I'm such a huge fan of what you're doing for the industry.
Yeah, and before we even go, I've got some great questions, and I want to dive into that. But I want to preface this with, I went to an event because Adam works with another person in the industry. He could talk about him if he wants to, but because this is Adam's spotlight here. But they did something at their mastermind that I've never seen before that is very resonant with this podcast, where they gave an award called the Freedom Award to the people in their group who had reached like financial freedom, what that meant to those people. And like they had to back it up with whether it was a profit and loss or a number of deals or like cash flow or whatnot. And I thought, oh, it's right behind him too. So if you can see this on YouTube, he just pointed behind him. If you're just listening, he's sitting in his office there. I thought that was the coolest award I've ever seen at a mastermind, because it highlighted not number of deals, not revenue, not anything crazy like volume. It really honed in on the people that really went after what freedom meant to them. So Adam, I just want to say thank you for doing that, because that really opened my eyes to something very cool in a mastermind. I don't even know if you have anything to say there, but I want to at least start there with this.
Yeah, I'm not. I think I think we have a big responsibility if you run a community or mastermind. I think we have a big responsibility to both inspire, encourage growth, but also encourage it in the right way.
Yeah.
And I know that, and you and I had these deep conversations, like a lot of people start the entrepreneurship journey looking for some kind of freedom, time freedom, decision freedom, financial freedom. In order to get there, there's a whole bunch of work between that. And you do got to do some deals and you do got to make some money. But we get lost in that and we forget to come back to why we're doing what we're doing. And I think we've got to put that in front of our people, and we've got to keep it in front of ourselves all the time. So yeah, it's like, why are you really truly here? It's not for the 100th deal or the 1,000th deal or the 2,000. It's like, it's for freedom, some kind of freedom.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where it was so cool to see an award presented at one of these places where it's like, this is where you're really focused on why they're there, which was a little bit mind blowing to me after being a part of so many masterminds and events in the past. So, and if you're wondering what mastermind, he runs Seven Figure Flipping. So I am a hardcore fan of them. I go to lots of masterminds. So this is one that I heavily endorse if you're in the real estate space. So I'm just going to put that out there as an endorsement up here at the front. But Adam, I want to get more into your story and your mindset around money and just all the things you've gone through. When you filled out some of the info that we asked beforehand, you number one, have spent over 20 years in the Marine Corps. So I wanted to thank you for your service. But then you said because of that, you were also able to transfer some of that knowledge into the real estate space, and especially around money. So when you were in the Marine Corps for those years in the military intelligence, and you went all in on real estate, what did that operator discipline teach you about managing money that maybe most investors never learn?
Oh man. First off, David, I've made tons of mistakes. So
As we all have.
I think you can hear it until it's tactile. It's hard. I have my executive assistant who sits next to me, can't see, she's not in here right now, is 23. I literally right before this podcast, we were talking about money habits, personal money habits.
Cool.
And before I did real estate, I dreamed of freedom. And then the freedom dream led me to go, what, like, in order to get freedom, I need money.
Yeah.
It's not all about money, but I need money. I'm in the military. My pay is published. I literally looked at my social security statement. I made $9,000 my first year and $14,000 my second year in the Marine Corps. Now, of course, I get other benefits and stipends and stuff that are non-taxable, but that's the taxable money. So I got no money. I'm not doing something really hard. I'm not really making money. The good news is I'm mostly just doing something hard and I don't have a lot of time to spend it. So I spend the first 4 years making little money. And at the end of the 4 years, they say, if you stay in the military for another 4 years, I was enlisted first, you get a $41,000 bonus tax-free, because I was in Iraq. I was in combat.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I was just going to get out and go be an idiot somewhere. So now I got to rethink that, because $41,000, that's more than I made in a year. And this is like 2007, 8. I took the bonus. I paid for a more expensive wedding than I should have. By the way, I was already married and we decided to have the wedding. So that was like 13 grand.
Yeah.
I went out and bought a brand new 2008 F-150 FX package vehicle. That was like, at the time, it was about 40 something $1,000. Same truck today is probably 80. And I was not being paid. My pay wasn't commensurate with paying that payment and that insurance and that. So I'm driving across the country. There's like 2 points in my life where my money habit, my mindset about money habits changed. The first one was when I was driving across the country in 2008, post buying this. Do you remember what happened to gas prices in 2008?
They were nuts. That's when it was like, what, $4 a gallon?
I was in California.
Oh, California.
$4.50.
Yeah.
$4.50. I'm making less than 30 grand a year. And I drive a truck.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So like none of this makes a lot. Like if you talk to me, then you'd be like, you're an idiot. You should go get yourself a used Toyota Corolla. Right. So I'm driving across the country. I'm in my first few years of marriage. And we listened to Dave Ramsey, the Total Money Makeover on a CD.
Okay.
So It's like really fundamental, like the first set of fundamentals. I also listened to Rich Dad Poor Dad at that time, but like nice. that was a seed for later. Dave Ramsey was actually the first seed, and it's paid on your debt, save up $1,000 emergency fund, and save up some cash, 2-3 months of expenses. And then the rest of his investing stuff, I'm like, it's not very aggressive. I don't like it. But that fundamental started. My wife and I literally did the envelope system. So his envelope system was like, instead of use your card, this was back in the day when cash was more prevalent, as you know.
Right.
Like all your bills are filed in an envelope and you have to take the cash out and you're like paying with cash. I pay with cash. Watch the money go away. So it's like that in and of itself was irrelevant, but the habit of that. Okay, so that was 2008. Around 2015, so 2011, I dabbled in real estate. I started buying real in 2017. So that was like there, but I wasn't good yet. I didn't necessarily have it figured out. But in 2016, I stumbled upon this community called Financial Independence Retire Early. And 2016 to 2018, I was just like obsessively learning, listening to podcasts. Then this book comes out called Profit First. And I read that first book and I'm not yet in like crushing it in real estate. But the Financial Independence Retire Early community showed me a pathway to, I don't need a W-2. There's another way if I do things right. So I move up in my career, I'm making maybe $60 or $80 or $90,000. And I get to the point where I'm saving 50% of my income.
Wow.
And I'm tracking literally every dollar, every cent that comes in and out of my account. And this was very like labor intensive. Like my wife
seems like it.
We're build a little spreadsheet. We're tracking it all. We're reconciling. We're dang near personal bookkeepers at this point, right?
Right.
So then I create a habit of saving. Well, then I go, okay, cool. It helps me buy some rentals. I start listening to all the real estate stuff. And I'm like, how can I cook this up and go faster? And I see who's now my partner and friend, really good friend and mentor, Bill Allen. And he's this retired Navy pilot, doing 200 deals a year. And I'm like, oh, well, if he can do it, I can do it. So I go down that track.
Yeah.
And then I learned the business side of it. And what I learned in business, so at first I built personal financial good habits.
Yeah.
And then what I learned in business was you also need business financial habits.
Right.
Because I did $1 million in a year in gross profits and made like meager money. And it felt good to say I hit $1 million, but it didn't feel good to not fill my bank account up.
Right.
And then I realized, and then I, at some point I read Profit First for real estate investors, and I realized how important it is to pay yourself. And what's crazy is my partner now, Bill, told me this in the beginning. You must take money out of your business. It is a non-negotiable, or you'll work for free for way too long.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that on my own. And then, of course, I get into real estate and I'm buying rentals, which was, I'm grateful that I did that because I think on our transactional flip, wholesale, whatever side, you lose sight of that too, because that builds net worth. And then, I grow that business and, I've never hit under 7 figures on that business and gross profits. I've been more profitable years. I've had 41% net profit margins, and I've had single digit profit margin years.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been close to break even, never lost money. You have rough spurts and stuff like that. So just a lot of habitual lessons learned personally. And I had somebody on, David, and maybe you'll appreciate this. And I'm teaching a class online, and there's all this like new people who are like, well, I'm broke. I got a bunch of debt. And I just stop the class and I go, if you can't take care of $100, you'll never take care of $1 million.
Yeah.
If you can't pay down your consumer debt and save $1,000 in an emergency fund, you shouldn't be doing real estate. And I know that hurts me, but it's going to hurt you more.
Right. This is really good stuff. I love that journey because it sounds like you really hit it from the personal aspect first. The personal finances, you got some of those habits. Because even you said Dave Ramsey and the envelope system, which Profit First mirrors a lot of that. So what do you think about Profit First when you read it and then started implementing it that made you not just use it, but want to either share it with other people in your mastermind? Because you've had me, you are a big proponent of the book as well, too. Because some people don't have those personal financial habits. So I'm just curious on your thoughts from that aspect.
I think it's a mirror. But by the way, in business and it's 7-figure flipping and blackjack real estate, I literally pulled up my accounts. I have a profit account, I have a principal account, I have an interest vault account, I have an operating account, I have a tax account, literally looking at my bank.
Music to my ears right now. So I love this.
Just because like, I'm not just on the podcast because I think it's a cool, you and I are friends. Like it's a system that's critical to actually making money because it's easy to bring in money. It's hard to make money.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's the Profit First book, and especially for real estate investors, it's really more psychological. The system is great; it works perfectly. But if you don't change your mindset around it, if you don't understand the concept of it, like you're never gonna do it. So understanding like I'm focused on making money first, and that's what comes off the top, and then expenses are backed out of that. So important. And it feels hard to do until you start doing it. It feels hard. It's like, well, how am I going to pay for marketing? How am I going to pay for this? And the truth is like, you'll always pay for that stuff first. If you never give yourself profit, like you literally will do all this work and work for free and not make any money. And I know you have that story. That's kind of how this whole thing was born, doing 25 deals a month. And
right.
It's like we actually didn't make money this month. That's a lot of work to not make money. Seems kind of unreasonable.
Quick pause from the episode. I have exciting news that's expanding the world of Profit First for real estate investors. You may know that years ago, I wrote the book, Profit First for Real Estate Investing, endorsed by Mike Mikowicz, that has been read now by thousands of real estate investors. And now we're launching 3 workbooks, one for wholesalers, one for fix and flippers, and one for rentals. These aren't just deal calculators, they're full implementation guides. They're dialed in for each type of business. Wholesalers, you're getting assignment fee math, marketing, budgeting, planning, and how to beat the feast or famine cycle. If you're a flipper, you get ARV accuracy, rehab budgeting, and profit forecasting, and running multiple projects at once without going broke. Rentals, you get your freedom number, cash flow per door, and a 5-year portfolio plan. Plus, the full Profit First bank account setup and allocation system tuned to your business with formula specific for your business type. Everything you need to go from operator to CEO. And right now, they're free. You just need to cover shipping. Go to pfreiworkbook.com. That's pfreiworkbook.com. Just like Profit First for real estate investing, pfreiworkbook.com. Grab whichever matches your business, or you can grab all 3. pfreiworkbook.com. Go get them, make more profit. All right, back to the episode. Yeah, exactly. So, well, I love that you hit that, because that, like if I had to script out answers for people, that's what I would have scripted out for Adam. But we don't script anything out here. So you get people's raw, real answers, because what you just said there is so key. It's psychological. It's not just a system. It's not just bank accounts. It's like helping them become a better business owner and thinking differently about their money. So I love that answer. So that's where Profit First to you is not just a system. It's helping them become better business owners who know how to deal with their finances and with their cash and with the money that's flowing through their fingers.
100%. Like the first step is I had a young guy in kind of our newer side of our community asking a bunch of questions, and I really appreciated it. But he was experienced enough. He had done enough flips that his name's Peter. He's in California. I love this guy. I tell Peter, don't call me. Don't ask me another question until you brought $250K revenue in your business. Then we're in the next phase where we can talk. You already got this stuff figured out. Your job now is to execute and bring cash in. Once you bring cash in, then we start talking allocations. Then we start talking smart money management. Like don't just spend money to bring money in. It's so easy to bring money in. It's hard to create margin, right?
Right. Yeah. Which I love that. That's why I love having you on, because you get it. You get it from a high level, from the business owner now, and you even started with your personal finances. So I appreciate you telling that story as well too. I did want to talk about potentially maybe a harder time. So sounds like you had to restructure seven figure flipping at one point. Where what was the P&L telling you? And you had to make some cuts and like some things. It sounds like you had to do a turnaround at one point.
Yeah, I would say the market changes but this is both for real estate, 7-figure flipping, any business I've had is like there's a point where what you're doing is not producing, it's costing you a lot of money, but it's not like the revenue and the spend starts to get close. You have tighter times. And cash flow management, I think, is not talked about enough in business.
I would agree.
It's 100%. It's not static, right? It's
Right.
not like what's in my bank account today, because it's what's coming in, what's in, and what's going out. And this thing it's literally like a flow of a river. So once you build the business, it's stuff coming in, stuff in, and stuff going out. And you have to have your eye on a daily basis on all 3 of those things. And you get caught in operations, you get caught in, leadership and managing people and putting the right people in the right seat, all these things that are really important to our business. And then you go, crap, like the flow of water is slowing down, which is now causing the bank account to go down. And by the way, none of this is like right in the same day. This is over a period of time. It starts attriting. And then what's going out almost is never coming down. Unless you do something, right? The old adage, if nothing changes, nothing changes. So I've had times across any business, real estate included, where I've had to cut personnel. And it was because we're executing a front end model to acquire deals or clients. And that model starts to the cost to acquire a deal, the cost to acquire a customer, the value, the lifetime value of the deal, the lifetime value of the customer. Those things are getting too close to each other. There's not margin in the model. It starts to change. And like, if you're not tracking data, if you're not tracking money, if you're not tracking cash flow, and so I've had those times. I literally have had those times where it's like, crap, dude, we're break even this month. We're break even 2 months in a row. This is not good. We're down. I've had months in business where we're down 20K. We're up 100K. We're down 60K. We're up 30K. We're like, you look at a P&L and it's like, oh, I mean, it can sometimes feel like a roller coaster on that thing, which is why principles and fundamentals are going to serve you much better than reactionary banking and move-in money and debt and all these tools you have available to you. If you can't apply, I've been so grateful and fortunate to have Bill Allen be a mentor who's got a brilliant money mind, just a brilliant numbers mind. He's an engineer, and I know him personally. I see a lot of the stuff he's doing. What he's really beautiful mind at is cash flow management, seeing where the money's at and understanding what's coming and understanding what's going out. And because he can do that so well, he can create consistency and predictability when he's watching it. I've just watched him and learned from him and constantly, taking notes on how he does his personal finances, how he does his how he manages the businesses and all those things. So yeah, I've been on the spectrum, David. I think not enough people will get on here and say, I've had months where I didn't make money. I had a year where I didn't make money. Like, those are all realities of business. And I think any meaningful business owner has experienced it. And sometimes that's what it takes for them to read Profit First and execute on that book, or put the principles in place at least.
Yeah. And it sounds like what Bill, I don't know if it either comes naturally to him or he just built that skill, or, as the engineer and the numbers mindset. But it sounds like what you've done too is, it's like you had many versions of Bill before you even had Bill. It's like not Profit First, but Dave Ramsey and his envelope system, like for your personal finance. So it's like you gained some knowledge along the journey, and then you had a mentor take it to the next level of like, okay, I have Profit First. It's a good first stopgap. Like, it's a good indicator system, but like now I need to know some more in depth, and like, how do I really manage this, and how do I manage the $100,000 swings back and forth from a month to month basis like that? So it sounds like you also had a good mentorship on this journey too, from someone who actually understood the financial point of view as well too, not just the ownership, and not just like, let's just get a lot more deals or a lot more sales or a lot more things coming in.
Yeah,
So
and it's more sales do help for sure, but you know what? Bill was a Profit First guy.
Yeah.
Like, all my bank accounts that I just read off to you, literally looking at them on my computer right now, we're all set up. We're all already set up. Like, these are in partnership with Bill, and they're all already set up. Like, he was already, his mind just works that way. How do I get money out of the business? That's his first thought.
Yeah.
When he looks at any business model. Now, this guy, Bill, he's got a farm that does 7 figures. He's got commercial multifamily. I mean, you name it, he's got it. He does trades watches. Like, he's got all kinds of stuff going on, but his default is the Profit First, which I think is the big thing.
Well, and it sounds like you said, it's a person of that when he was even first training you, take money out, like force yourself to take it out, because you'll start not paying yourself, and you'll be working for free for years, which is what we see across the board. I mean, that's 10 times out of 10 almost, like people walking through our door where it's like they're not paying themselves, or they're having those types of issues because they're not thinking about that part of the management of the money. So now I appreciate that, and appreciate you sharing that. You've got a lot of experience though. So I want to at least ask you one other question about how, as an owner, like that mindset, because you have a unique perspective. I've been around you and Bill enough where you talk about the OODA loops and the commander's intent, and especially how do you apply that to business, and then especially like under pressure decisions, like especially it might be financial, it might be a personnel. Like, how are you applying those to those areas of the business that you
those well, first off, we're raised that way. Right? So all the thing that, think about this with the military. I'll speak to the Marine Corps specifically. Imagine running an organization of hundreds or thousands of people, and every year 1/3 of your people turns over.
Hmm.
So I get orders, I get told I'm going to go work at an organization and fill a specific job role.
Yeah.
And I spend about 3 years there doing that. By the third year, I'm really good at it. And then the next year I leave and go to a new job role and I start all over. And I do that
Yeah.
for 20 straight years, where by the time I become elite and an expert at something, I'm in a completely new job role or completely new level of leadership. So that's like part one. Part two is remember why the military exists. It's a war fighting organization designed to fight and win. Okay. So that means you're going to be put into chaotic and complex situations without all the information you need most of the time. And you have to be able to be decisive. How can you do that while also managing risk? So every day from the time I was 18 years old to the time I was 40 years old, I did that. I was trained on it. I was trained and trained and trained. And then I was put in the situation to do it. And, from leading myself to leading 4 people, to leading 13 people, to leading 40, 50 people, to leading 205 people, and being the sole person responsible for those human lives. Not just the human lives, but the equipment. When I left the military, I was responsible for a $1.5 billion portfolio of exquisite equipment.
Hmm.
So they're really good at putting you into a situation to grow. And, maybe they have a little more room for error because they don't have a bottom line from a money perspective. They have a bottom line from a human capital perspective. So it's not exactly the same, but there are a lot of things that translate really, really well. First off is decision making, moving fast with, while risk adjusted. So it's like OODA loop. What is that? John Boyd, actually Air Force fighter pilot, did all this study and research, thermodynamics, you name it. And he said, why is one fighter pilot win in a aircraft fight in the sky? Dogfighting is what they call it, over another. What makes them better? Well, the person who can observe their surroundings based on their heuristics, who can orient on the problem, can decide on the solution, and then act the fastest, was the one that won every time. So that's the OODA loop process. Now, that process is based on your training, your heuristics, where you grew up, all these intangible things that you have, and some tangible. So the ability to look at a complex situation, whether it's on the combat field or the bank accounts, the cash flow, the leadership, like whatever we're looking at, ingest information, make sense of it, make a good decision, or at least the most informed good decision you can make with the information you have. I've been put into thousands of situations to do that over and over and over and over and over again. So obviously bringing that over to what we do in business, which is oftentimes chaotic and complex, translated super well. So that's my take on the OODA loop process and why it's so beneficial for business. Now,
Yeah.
what was the second one?
Well, let's just end there because that's where I've seen you teach this. I've seen Bill teach this, and it's like this is another thing that I think sets you guys apart from a lot of the other organizations out there as well, too, just because of this type of knowledge where you're not going to ship them off to the military if they haven't been a part of the military up to this point, but you're teaching them a lot of the things that make them great business owners that you take from those principles from the military, which I think is great too, because like you already said, you have some months that are so great, and then you have some months that aren't so great. And being able to make those decisions, like in a dogfight, like in your own business in that cockpit, and making sure that you know exactly what's going on and where it's going. So now I love that. To round this out, we've talked about your journey and your financial habits and the psychology of money and really understanding, why profit first is really good. And then all the way to OODA loops and making sure that you can be decisive and knowing exactly what to do in those tense situations. What is one financial blind spot you see? The investors either you coach or just in the marketplace, or people in 7-figure flipping. What's a blind spot that usually hits them upside the head?
Yeah, I would say probably there's like two major blind spots. There's two types of kind of investors. I'm going to go direct to seller investor.
Yeah.
I have to invest money into marketing, and for flippers, so those are primarily assignments and wholesalers, and then there's house flippers. So for house flippers specifically, especially house flippers going direct to seller, is understanding cash conversion cycles. Okay. So I did a study one time on leads, David, and from the time you spend $1 on direct mail, for example, to the time you bring revenue back in your business from a flip is like 200 and something days. Now, in this business, we're always told be consistent in marketing. So let's say I spend $5,000, small amount, but $5,000 this month on mail, and I get a deal. Like, awesome. I got a deal. That's great. $2,500 for that deal. I'm going to make 40. I'm not going to make 40 until month 7. What do I do in month 2? I got to spend $5,000 on marketing. Maybe I get another deal if I'm lucky. Now I'm on month 8 and then month 3. So your money's going out. You freak out because you didn't plan for the cash conversion cycle. So then you create your own instability by shutting off marketing. 4 months later, you get money. And then you go, oh my gosh, I have no more deals. So money came in, but you have no more deals. So you need deals. You need front end deal acquisition. So we create a lot of our own instability by not just understanding cash conversion cycles. Probably the number one thing I see with people.
Okay. So that's a great one, because especially in the flipping arena, it's like you just said, lots of outlays of cash before you see the cash coming back. A lot of people don't understand or don't know how to, make sure that doesn't affect their business in the long term. So what would you give as advice to an investor? Like one action they should take from this podcast if they want to be either better managers of their money, or if they want to stop making money but feeling broke? What would you give that advice?
Yeah, I would tell them that if nothing changes, nothing changes. Yeah. Like if you keep doing the same thing, if you have a business and it's producing deals and you're lacking profitability, but first off, you're not alone. There's more people out there doing that than you think.
Very true.
Second off is if you don't change anything, nothing will change. If you don't go to profit first, if you don't find a way to pull profit out first to pay yourself, no matter what, you will never, ever make money doing this.
Yeah. Well, I back that up 100%. So that's where I want you to listen to Adam. This is someone who's been on this journey from a personal standpoint and really learning the habits of money seems like early on in your career, even before you got heavy into the real estate world, but then learning profit first, learning some of these things from the military and then applying them to business. I highly endorse Adam and what he teaches and his mastermind. So Adam, what's the best place for them to reach out if they're interested in what you've got going on?
Yeah, you can check us out at 7figureflipping.com, number 7figureflipping.com. I'm also, me personally, I'm on social media. You can find me on Instagram or Facebook. But yeah, 7figureflipping.com, absolute best place.
Awesome. So go there, check out what they have. You will become a better business owner from there. You're not just going to learn how to do deals like a lot of other places teach. You're going to become a person who knows exactly what to do as the business owner. In the good times, in the bad times, these are people that are leaders and train leaders, and obviously, since they're big profit first fans, they're helping you keep the money as well too, and have that mindset, taking that money off the table. So I highly endorse them. That's 7figureflipping.com. That's with the number 7 at the beginning, not spelled out. It's the number 7, so 7figureflipping.com. Also, if you need help specifically because you're like, you know what, I'm great at making money, but I don't know where it's going, you could also head over to our website, simplecfo.com, where we can help you implement profit first. Honestly, a lot of people just are missing a good financial foundation in their business. They really don't know where to start. They don't know what's going on. That's where we can take you by the hand and at least give you a great financial foundation and have someone come alongside you. So we'd love to do that for you. Adam, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. You provided a ton of value here.
Thanks for having me, brother. Appreciate you.
And remember, if you're listening to this, make profit a habit in your business. That's it for today's show. Be sure to subscribe, review, and share this episode. If you're serious about financial systems and keeping more of your profit, visit simplecfo.com. to take your free discovery call today.